Welcome to In a Minute. We are reading the Gospel of John, one chapter a day, 5 days a week. And in this episode, we are on John chapter 18. After supper, Jesus and the 11 disciples walked to the Garden of Gethsemane. Now, John does not include the prayer of Jesus in the garden. We learn about that from the other Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Judas the betrayer knew just where to find Jesus, and he shows up with a mob, including a lot of soldiers. A detachment would have been at least 200 soldiers and could have been up to 600. When Christ first identifies himself by saying, "I am he," for just a moment, Jesus unveils his power and deity, and his words alone threw all the arresting soldiers to the ground. Now, you would think that that might cause a few of them to change their mind about Christ, but they get up and they continue forward with their plan. Peter, acting presumptuously, cuts off a servant's ear. Luke's account tells us that Jesus mercifully heals the man's ear. Jesus is arrested and his disciples scatter. Only Peter and another disciple stick close enough to witness the trial of Jesus. Now, although the name of the other disciple is never mentioned, it's safe to say that it was John, the writer of the gospel. They brought Jesus to Annas. And remember, Jerusalem and the Jews at this time are under Roman rule. At one time, Annas was the high priest, but the Romans removed him in AD 14, and they put his son-in-law Caiaphas in his place. But according to the Jewish law, the high priest was a lifetime position. So, while Rome saw Caiaphas as the high priest, the Jews still considered Annas in that position. However, because they were under Roman rule, they had to bring Jesus to Caiaphas, who had Rome's authority to carry out their plan. Next, they had to take Jesus before Pilate, the Roman governor of Judea. Rome did not allow the Jews to impose capital punishment. Now, there was very little about the trial of Jesus that was just or even legal. These religious leaders were not interested in a fair trial. They wanted permission to have Jesus executed. Pilate has a conversation with Jesus, and he finds no fault in him. Teaching the truth is not against Roman law. Now, the last thing that Pilate wants is a riot in Jerusalem that will bring on him the wrath of Rome. He tries a compromise using a Passover custom, but it backfires. And as you read today, make note of verse 4. It says that Jesus knew all things that would take place. Amid the injustice, madness, and chaos, he was still God and in complete control. And now today, for all his followers, he is still God and still in complete control, even when it seems your world is out of control.